Hello everyone. Today we are here for the third webinar on ICANN Accreditation series, and this webinar is brought to you by Dotup ICANN Accreditation Consultancy. In this webinar, we are going to know more about the fee structures of ICANN Accreditation, budgeting and cash flow calculations, which will be helpful for any registrar who is looking at becoming an ICANN accredited registrar and start selling domains. So let's jump onto this webinar session. I am Venkatesh. I have more than 8 years of experience in helping domain registrars in various different ways. I have helped companies in mergers and acquisitions, and also have helped companies apply for ICANN accreditation. I have helped several companies apply for ICANN accreditation and get ICANN accredited successfully, and also establishing their business and navigating through the intricacies in the technical onboarding and compliance and abuse of ICANN. All those things we can help. So in this webinar series, we've been trying to help aspirants of ICANN accreditation to understand more about what is an ICANN accredited registrar business model and how efficiently one can operate, how to apply, and what kind of approach does a registrar can take in order to succeed in this business. So let us jump onto the webinar for today. And before that, I'll give a small recap about our previous webinar. In the previous webinar, we discussed about how to apply for ICANN accreditation, what all the steps are there, and what are the set of documents, and how to fill out the application form, what are the information a registrar should note before applying for an ICANN accreditation. So we have discussed everything in detail, and I'll leave the link in the description so that you can go and watch the webinar as well. And yes, let's move on to the next. Budgeting and the cash flow calculations the registrar should keep in mind. In more precise way, if I have to say, we're going to discuss more about how much does a domain cost you as a registrar. We will do a detailed analysis on the cost, which gives you a clear idea how much are you buying it right now. So I have come across many companies who are domain resellers. Currently, they resell domains through OpenSRS, 2Cows, or Enorm, or Gandhi, or there are various others, Reseller Club, and so, Open Provider. Many companies are there. So they all resell domains through these companies, and they are getting a very competitive pricing at this point because the wholesale domains market is very competitive, and probably you will get a domains with a very little margin on top of your current pricing what you are getting. So let's see today how much does a .com, .net, or any domain, how does the fee structure work. Everything we'll discuss in detail. So let's jump into the session. We are talking about ICANN fees. When you start applying for ICANN accreditation, the first thing you need to consider is what all the fees associated with, and so that you can make your calculations, budgeting, and everything accordingly, and make a smart make a decision which will be calculated. So first thing you need to understand is the first fee you will ever pay when you start looking at an ICANN accreditation is the ICANN accreditation application fee. The ICANN accreditation application fee is $3,500, which is non-refundable. It's a one-time fee. And when you submit the application, within a week, ICANN will send you an invoice. And once you make the payment, they start processing the application. So before submitting the payment, ICANN will also make sure that you have submitted all the necessary documents. They'll do an initial check and then send you the invoice. If at all there is something missing from the application package, which ICANN thinks is necessary before even to consider starting the application processing, then they're going to point you out that in the email, and you need to provide them with that. But in most cases, when we submit the application, within a week, we'll receive an invoice for $3,500. And once you make the payment, ICANN starts processing the application. So this is the first fee you will be paying. This is non-refundable, irrespective of the outcome of the application. All right. So what is the next fee you will be paying? Let's assume you get successfully ICANN accredited. And now you're going to start with registry onboarding and the following process and post-accreditation steps and everything. But the first thing ICANN will do is send you an invoice for either $4,000 or $1,000. I'll explain you what is the difference. So you can either pay your annual ICANN accreditation fee, which is basically $4,000 per year. You can pay it in one shot and for the entire year, or you can choose to pay it quarterly as $1,000 per quarter. So ICANN will send an invoice for you for this the day you get ICANN accredited. Once you make this payment, then the entire onboarding process gets over. So you can choose to pay $1,000 per quarter, or you can choose to pay the entire amount in one go. It's up to you. It's always advisable to pay in one go because it just makes your job easy and you don't have to keep following up with invoices for the rest of the year. On top of it, I can also charge as a variable fee, which is basically to recover the cost it occurs for ICANN in various other things, providing service to you as a registrar for the entire year. So this variable fee, I have seen most cases it comes less than $150. Sometimes it's in like $90, sometimes it's $120. So depending upon whatever is the cost occurred during the period of the quarter. So this invoice is sent quarterly for sure. So what happens is when you pay the annual fee per quarter, they send you $1,000 plus the variable fee. Or if you choose to pay the annual fee entirely in one go, then you will get only invoices for the variable fee per quarter. So the next fee we are going to talk about is per domain fee. Once you get ICANN accredited and go live and start registering domains, so ICANN is going to send you an invoice per quarter for 18 cents per domain year transaction you have done. So this 18 cents is charged for every domain you as a registrar register under your accreditation. So for example, let's say today your customer comes and registers xyz.com, and ICANN will take that into account. At the end of the quarter, they're going to send you an invoice for 18 cents. So let's say you register 1,000.com domains, they're going to send you 1,000 into 18 cents as an invoice. Similarly, let's say a customer comes and renews a domain for 3 years. They make the payment and you will be charged 18 cents into 3. So the number of years into the transaction fee, 18 cents in this case. So if there is multiple domains for multiple number of years, and in this case, you will be charged 18 cents into number of years into number of domains. So this will give you an idea on how ICANN charges you the 18 cents. All right. So these are the fees ICANN generally charge. These are the only fees you will ever pay to ICANN. There is no other fees associated with your ICANN accreditation. So the overall cost for the first year will be is the $3,500 in the application fee, and also the $4,000 in annual fee, less than $500 in almost around in the variable fee. And also there is fees associated with per domain that is variable. You have to pay depending upon the volumes of domains you register on the entire quarter. All right, so let's jump on to the next. Right, so we just covered in our first slide about the fees associated with ICANN accreditation. I'll just give a small recap and we'll proceed from there. All right, so I was discussing about the 3 different fees ICANN charges. One is the application fee, which is $3,500 when you sign up, and the next when you file the application, you will be paying a $3,500 non-refundable ICANN accreditation fee. And the next is you have to, once you get ICANN accredited, you will be paying an annual fee of $4,000 every year. You can either choose to pay $4,000 in one go, or you can choose to pay $4,000 into 4 quarters. So which means you will get an invoice for $1,000 per quarter towards the annual accreditation fee. Next is there is a variable fee, which is towards the cost occurred for you as a registrar for ICANN. So they're gonna send you an invoice. It's usually typically less than $150. So they will send an invoice for something $100, $90, $120, depending upon the quarter. And this will be also sent quarterly. And the next fee is the per domain fee. The per domain fee is basically 18 cents fee ICANN charges per domain year transaction, which means the number of domains registered or renewed or transferred into the number of years the domains are registered, renewed or transferred. Typically, it's just in cases of renewals and registration. Transfer is always for 1 year. So, and also basically this is how it is calculated. So you will get an invoice on a quarterly basis for every domain transaction happens during that quarter for 18 cents per domain year transaction. So next, we'll jump on to the next slide, which is list of all the fees related to an ICANN registrar business. This is only the fees and not the cost occurred for a registrar for their technical infrastructure or their marketplace and customer support and everything else. So these fees are just associated only towards the cost of a registrar, which typically happens for every registrar of all sizes. So let's discuss about the fees. First one is the ICANN application fee, which we discussed is for $3,500. Next is the ICANN annual fee, which is for $4,000. And next is we have is ICANN variable fee, which is something around $150 per quarter. And the last one is the ICANN per domain fee. We discussed about all these four in the previous slide. Let me jump on to the next thing. So as a registrar, you will still be buying domains from a registry. There are thousands of registries for thousands of TLDs. So major ones you will be looking at is, let's say, as VeriSign for CommonNet, PIR for .org, CentralLink has somewhere around 25-30 TLDs, and there is GoDaddy registry and the Identity Digital registry, which is close to 500 plus TLDs. Both of them manage somewhere around like that. So typically, if you sign up with all these registries, you will be getting a coverage of 700 TLDs. So in the cost-wise, each registry has a different pricing. So in order to make the job of registrar applicants easy, we gonna put the pricing of all the cost price of all the domain TLDs of registry level pricing in our website. I'll share the link in the description in the YouTube video when you upload this, but you can refer to the pricing of all the TLDs, which is the cost price, and you can find out which TLD cost how much, which will give you a valuable resource to understand more about the pricing strategy. So how it works is right now the .com's price is $9.59. Similarly, each TLD has its own pricing. For example, .io is $45 right now. And we're going to discuss about the pricing of TLDs in the later slides. But for now, let me give you an idea about what is the registry fee. So registry fee is also charged in terms of wallet funds, which I'll discuss in the next coming slides. So, all right, what is the next fee we are looking at is the EPP software fee. So this is the first additional cost through a third party for running a registrar. It's for a registrar automation software, which every registrar needs. Either they can build it in-house or they can subscribe to a SaaS-based model platforms. There are a few of them available in the market, and this makes the job of a registrar going live pretty easy. It helps you a turnkey software, which makes the life of registrars pretty easy and simple. So EPP software's main focus is on three steps. One is that it helps you connect with all the registries through the EPP. Next is they help you give you API to your marketplace. You can choose to build your own marketplace, or you can also use a WHMCS marketplace. They're going to give you API connectivity, and also they will help you manage the Whois, RDAP, and all the ICANN compliance related technical infrastructure stuff. So all this comes in a bundle, which makes the job of a registrar very easy, and they charge you few cents per domain. So typically, I have seen registrars being charged 30 cents, 35 cents it starts with, and sometimes it goes to up to 60, 75 cents, depending upon the volume. So if you are a registrar who are looking at registering, let's say 200,000 domains a year, then probably you're looking at getting like 30, 35 cents per domain, because the number of volumes justify the cost of the operation and the technical infrastructure resources deployed by the software provider. But in case if you're some registrar who's going to be registering less than 10,000 domains a year, in this case, you are looking at somewhere around 50 cents, 60 cents per domain, because this will justify again the cost of the resources deployed by the software provider. So you have to understand that you are looking at somewhere between 30 to 65 cents per domain, and some of the registrars charges extra maintenance. So some of the software providers also charges monthly maintenance fee until you meet certain benchmark of number of domains. So depending upon your lookout, depending upon your requirements, there are softwares which fit much easier. Or in other scenario, let's look at building your own software. Then it is in typically very resource consuming, time consuming, and cost effective. It's not really cost effective if you are a small scale registrar, but if you're looking at registering somewhere around 200 plus thousand domains, then you are looking at it's better to build your own software, which will probably give you good returns and profitable returns in a shorter period of time. So this is about the EPP software, and let's now talk about Whois privacy fee. So if you are a registrar and you would like to offer Whois privacy service to your customers, You have to set up your whois privacy company, and through which, so in one of our webinars in the future, I'll also discuss in detail about how does whois privacy really works, and is it really still relevant in the market, and do people subscribe for whois privacy services and pay for them, and what is the scope or what is the future about whois privacy service. So, but typically, let's say if as a registrar, if you set up your own whois privacy company, then you can use it in your whois privacy service for your customers. They can choose your whois privacy addresses for their contact details to protect their privacy online. Or usually platforms charge a few cents or to $1 per domain for this service. And if you choose to have your own whois privacy company registered, then you can use your own whois privacy platform. Then it's not going to charge you anything. So the next thing is the DNS service fee. As a registrar, you are probably looking at giving free DNS to your customer. If you want, you can consider having your own DNS servers. If you have the expertise and the team and resources in deploying your own DNS servers, which is redundant, which is what basically customers look at. Even though if you're offering it for free, if there is frequent outages, the customers is not going to be happy about it. So you're looking at some sturdy services of DNS for your customers' domains. So in this case, they do typically cost a little bit on top of the cost of per domain. But if you tend to if you happen to have your own DNS server, then probably you're going to save a lot on cost. Because DNS servers are not really expensive depending upon the bandwidth and the traffic consumption. But typically, if there is a situation of DDoS attacks or any other DNS attacks, then in that case, you need to have a solid team. If you do not have a right experts and talents in your team who can mitigate the DDoS attacks and such stuff, which is going to let you go and hire a expert from market or a freelancer to help you fix the problem, which is typically going to end up adding more bill to your cost. So in that case, it's better always to hire a company who provides DNS service and integrate with them. Probably in the market there is DNS Made Easy or Cloudflare or Anycast DNS. Anycast DNS is probably one of the leading solution provider for registrars who is looking at reselling DNS. I have seen a lot in the past. So this is about the DNS fee. So these are all the fees you're looking at. This fees doesn't associate anything with the fixed cost like your office space or probably the staff you're going to hire and their salaries and payrolls for customer support team, operations team, and sales teams if you tend to have any, and doesn't include your hosting price for your marketplace, your customer support platforms, and all your technical infrastructure. So if you tend to outsource most of your technical infrastructure, your cost wise it is going to decrease a lot. But if you happen to manage everything on your own, if you that's your plan, then probably you're looking at paying more fees. So next, these are the fees we have to discuss. Let's understand this and let's now move on to the next slide. All right, so how to do a cost calculation of per domain? Let's say typically you're a registrar, you are a domain reseller now. You're probably getting $10.30 for a .com in the best slab pricing of any of the wholesale domain registrars. I think probably from eNorm or from I would say about Open Provider or even Reseller Club, you might be getting $10.30 or $10.50 per year for a .com. Registration, renewals, and transfers. If there is any discounts, you might even get it a lesser registration cost for the first year. But typically $10.40, $10.30 is the cost you're going to get the cheapest ones. Now, just one second. Let me see if anybody. All right. So how do we calculate the cost of per domain we going to register as a registrar? First cost is per domain cost associated with the registry's per domain cost. So when we try to understand how to do the calculation of the per domain cost for a reseller to become a registrar, the first fee is that you will be directly procuring domains from registries. So registries set the price for every TLD they sell, and for a .com currently it is $9.59 is what VeriSign charges. Typically, there is various other TLDs. As I said, I'm going to put in the link in the description in the YouTube video, where you can refer to the link in our website with all the pricings of all the TLDs from the registry level pricing. So this gives you an idea about how much it is going to typically cost you for per domain, and the next fee associated is the ICANN fee of 18 cents. So ICANN's 18 cents fee plus your domains per domain cost fee of registry, and also the next thing is the EPP software fee, which is typically 30 cents, 60 cents, 75 cents, however. So if you use this formula, you can actually find out the price of your domain. And I didn't include the DNS fee or the who is privacy fee, because in the later stages of our webinar, I'll explain how you can set up your own in-house DNS servers, or you can probably subscribe with the platforms with the EPP software who also provide free DNS. So there are EPP software platforms which also comes with free DNS for your customers. So that way you are already covered within the 30 cents. And also whose privacy also comes as a free service with some platforms, and some of them charge you for, a flat fee for that. So I didn't include them as they're optional, but typically to understand the cost of the per domain, this is the formula you probably should use to identify. Let's give some examples. In the next slide, you will see currently the registry price for .com from VeriSign is $9.59. The ICANN fee is 18 cents, and the lowest tier I would say of the EPP software is 35 cents per domain. So one more thing I would like to quickly add here is that there are EPP software platforms who does pricing in various different models. There are platforms which charges you a set fee, let's say 50 cents, into number of domains into number of years of transaction. So typically, let's say a customer comes and registers a domain for 4 years, it's probably 4 into 50 cents, that's $2 per domain. So this is the way it is calculated, but there are also platforms available in the market, irrespective of the number of years, per transaction fee is all what they charge, a flat fee per transaction. So for example, if a customer comes and registers a domain for if a customer comes and registers a domain for 1 year, then the fee is 50 cents. And if a customer comes and registers domains for 10 years, it still is going to be 50 cents. So there are various platforms which offer various different pricing models. We probably will discuss about all these platforms in one day. And I have also invited few of my friends from these platforms to come and explain about their products and registrar solutions in our platform through one of a podcast or a webinar, so that it becomes easy for you guys someday to understand how exactly these platforms work, what are their product offerings, and what are the best solutions which will fit your personalized needs. So for a .NET, let's consider what is the price right now. The registry price right now is $9.83. It's probably going to change in a couple of more months, but at this point it's $9.83. And there is an ICANN fee of 18 cents, and on top of it the EPP software fee, which comes around $10.36. So this is the cheapest price of a .com you are going to ever buy. Let's say in some cases I can have seen companies who wholesale registrars keep just 20 cents, 15 cents margin on top of the registry fee, and they sell it at a very competitive price for the registrars, for the resellers. So a lot of resellers are hesitant towards becoming a registrar just because they're already getting a very favorable price from the wholesale registrars. So I recently spoke to one of an applicant who is looking at becoming a registrar. They said they are already getting .com for $10.25. And what difference does it going to make to them, except other than that adding more operational burdens and cost towards becoming a registrar? We are already getting a competitive price, but the point here is being a registrar is a whole different ball game. The reason being is it gives you much more control towards your business and your customers than as a reseller. As a reseller, you always have a threat from the registrar who you are doing business. They can either shut your account, they can suspend your customers' domains, or they can poach your customers at some point of time. There is always some part of trouble. But when you have become a registrar on your own, you control your customers, you control the cost of yours, and you have a 100% 360-degree visibility towards your business, which puts you in a very advantageous position. So this is the pricing we are talking right now about per domain cost calculation. The next I will also talk about, give us one example about CCTLD, which is a country code TLD .io. It's a very popular one. The registry cost price for .io is set as $45 by the registry. The registry right now managing the .io TLD for the government of is basically Identity Digital, and the registry fee is 45 cents. If you see, there is no ICANN fee for a CCTLD. The reason being that ICANN fees are only applicable to GTLDs. So if you're a CCTLD registrar and you would like to sell TLDs like .co, .us, .in, or .ca, .us, all these CCTLDs doesn't have any ICANN per domain fee. So you don't have to pay that 18 cents for those TLDs. And but still you have to still pay the EP software fee. So it comes around $45, 35 cents. So I gave this example of a CCTLD just to make sure that you understand. As a registrar, if you are a GTLD domains are being registered in your platform, then you have, as in your registrar, then you have to pay the 18 cents. But if you are a CCTLD registrar for CCTLD TLDs, then you do not have to pay the ICANN fee of 18 cents. So I hope this gives you a clarity on the fee structure of how much is your domain cost, because I have seen customers who are asking me, prosperant registrars who comes to us for doing a free consultation. The first few questions itself I come across this thing: if you become a registrar, do you pay only 18 cents per domain? That's not really true, because what you read in the website of ICANN or some other sources online, they tell you yes, domains cost 18 cents from ICANN, but typically that's just the ICANN fee. They don't talk about the registry fee, which is very misleading. So if you're reading somewhere online, probably read a right resource. In our blogs, we have given proper explanation on how it is going to cost. This webinar will give you more idea, and I'll upload this presentation in the Google Drive, and also give you a link in the YouTube videos description. You can find out the calculation and also the link for the cost price of all the TLDs from the registries. So let's jump on to the next slide. In the next slide, we are talking about registry wallet funds. What's a registry wallet funds? So in domain industry, we need to understand how the payment system works. So registrars collect payments from the end users for the number of years or the number of domains they are purchasing from the registrar. So for example, let's say a customer comes to your website, they place an order for a .com domain, registers it for 3 years, they're going to pay you, let's say, $40 in your website. You take the payment through the payment gateway, credit card, or any other mode of payment you charge. But how does a registry charges you? So a registry does not send you a postpaid invoice. A registry always makes sure you maintain a wallet funds with them. As a registrar, it's your responsibility to fund the registry wallets and make sure there are funds always available in them, so that none of your customers' domains are disrupted. If your customer want to register a domain, renew a domain, transfer a domain, they should have 24/7 availability on doing that. And let's assume that some customer comes, you have like $10,000 in your registry wallet funds for .verizon. Some customer comes and registers like 1,000 domains, which could probably going to drain your wallets. It's your responsibility to predict, forecast, and immediately fund the wallet. Registries do give you emergency credits for a few days if you need time to transfer the funds. But usually what they do is, when you transfer funds and send them a screenshot of the wire transfer, they verify it, and then they add 10% or 15% of the amount you have transferred as a credit, so that your transaction keeps going through till the time the funds reflect their account. So registries want you to maintain a wallet funds. I'm going to discuss now in detail about how registry wallet funds work. It also involves the concepts in both registrations, renewals, transfers, and every other cases. All right. Here is the clarity which I would like to give. So as a registrar, you get accredited. Let's take the example as VeriSign. You added $2,000 funds into VeriSign. So there is $2,000 left into your VeriSign wallet. Now a customer comes and registers a domain for $20 for a .com 1 year in your website. So when you register the domain, they place an order, you take the payment, order is placed successfully. Your website is going to send the API command to your EPP software. EPP software is going to send a command to the registry to register the domain, and registry will register the domain and debit the cost fee of the domain transaction. Let's say for a .com, $9.59 will be debited from your account wallet funds. All right. So similarly, whatever registration transaction happens before registering the domain, the wallet fund will be debited for the domain. So let's say if there is no wallet funds, the transaction is not going to go through. Your customer's order would have been placed in your website, but it is not going to be delivered instantly to your customer. That is going to put you into a soup where your customer is going to be angry that they have paid, but the domain is still not registered, and there is a big chance that somehow, let's say there is a 3-4 hours delay before you get this thing sorted, and somebody else registered that domain. Then as a registrar who took a payment from your customer for registering certain domain and failed to do so will put you into a lot of trouble. So it's always smart to make sure you maintain sufficient wallet funds for the registries. With all the registries, you do a lot of transactions. And I'll also tell you how I'll give you ideas on how to fund the registries. What are the strategies you should be looking at? How so that you can allocate your funds smartly and wisely. All right. So let's talk about now as auto renewal. Auto renewal is a very important concept as both financially as well as technically for any registrar to look at. Okay. So a domain gets registered last year on same day. Today the customer haven't renewed yet. It's been 365th day. Few emails have already gone for the renewal reminder to the customer, but the customer hasn't renewed the domain. What happens now? On the 365th day, the VeriSign registry is going to auto renew the domain, and the EPP software is going to change the name servers of the domain and park the domain. The domain is auto renewed and registry has taken the funds from your wallet already for the auto renewal, but the customer still doesn't have paid you. So you have already paid to the registry for the renewal, and you're gonna give customer a 40-day time to renew the domain name to see if they finally comes back and renew it. And meanwhile, that 40 days, the registry is gonna hold the $9.59 for you. So because they up to then they consider the domain has renewed on the same date of expiry. All right. So meanwhile, your EPP software has parked the domain. You are basically getting parking revenue, advertisement revenues. You can throw ads, but you also make sure that there is a text content on the top saying that this domain has expired. Contact so and so registrar for more information. So typically, this is how it happens. So now you wonder, like, hey, the customer hasn't paid me, but the registry has renewed it. What happens to my money? I'm not running charity. So what happens in this case is you give customer enough time, like 30 days to 40 days. Max you do is 40 days. If the customer doesn't come back and renew the domain on before the 40th day, you or typically the EPP software sends a delete command to the registry. When the registry receives a delete command, they understand that the customer has not renewed the domain, and they do not want to continue using it. So they're going to refund you back the $9.59 after deletion. So typically, this is how it works. So there will be a lot of debits and credits back just due to the auto renewal. This is one of the reasons from the second year, all the registrars should look at managing their cash flows very efficiently and deploy funds accordingly to the registries which they use the most and has the highest volumes, because it is very important. Typically, imagine for 1,000 domains of .coms, it's going to cost you how much? It is $9,000, $9,599. Sorry, $9,590 is going to cost you. So in that case, 1,000 domains probably for few registrars can just sell quickly. So they have to maintain few $100,000 or even $1 million in funds with VeriSign in advance so that they can cater to the customers on timely basis. So typically for a smaller registrar who is looking at, let's say, less than 10,000 domains a year, they should first fund their VeriSign registry with at least $5,000 to $10,000. VeriSign is going to be the most commonly used registry account in your case. A lot of people will register more .coms, than any other TLDs. So in this case, you would typically have to fund at least $7,000 to $10,000 in your VeriSign account, which makes sense because still $10,000 is get you only 1,000 domains. And you need to understand one more thing. What is the most important part here is managing the cash flow. As a registrar, you have to make sure all the funds utilized by the in the registry is kept on rotating in the same way. Let's say you have deployed $100,000. Whenever your customer pays you a $10 for a domain they register under you and the cost is $8, let's say the $8 go back to the same funds you're going to deploy back into the registry, and the $2 is your margin which you're going to keep for yourself, probably even little less debited for the directions for the ICANN fee and the EPP software fee. But if you have to typically work in a way, you have to, let's say for a smaller registrar, think about having like $25,000 and keep rotating the same $25,000 in the registry funds and reaping out margins alone from the transaction fee. This is the most efficient way. I have seen registrars who typically, let's say, deploy $25,000. When the customer pays back, they take the money, the entire money, and put it in somewhere else and use it for somewhere else, and they don't have the money to fund the registry again, and the customer's domains coming up for renewal, and they get into trouble. In such cases, ICANN just doesn't mind you. They will terminate you or send you a notice for breach. So just be careful when you do the budgeting and the cash flow calculations. That auto renewal is a very expensive thing. All registrars need to keep in mind. You need to always fund your registries sufficiently. So we spoke about VeriSign, how much to fund as a registry. PIR probably you can do a few thousand, $3,000, $4,000 should even get started for a smaller registrar companies, and because it's going to be the second largest registry in your portfolio. Third is Central Nick and Identity Digital. You can do like maybe $1,000, $2,000 to start with, and you can keep adding more and more whenever is necessary. But I recently came across know that GoDaddy registry charges you a $10,000 minimum wallet funds, which you have to maintain in their deposit. I feel personally that's ridiculous. You have to maintain a lot of funds. Like if you put the money in a savings account, you probably going to get a little bit more money. But for TLDs, which very much not really popular. All like I've seen a lot of GoDaddy registries which are not really popular, not sells pretty much a lot. And if they have to maintain a $10,000 in a deposit, it just doesn't make sense to me. But it is what it is. If you want a coverage of 300 plus TLDs, you typically have to do so. You don't have a choice as a registrar. So you typically can tend to skip GoDaddy registry when you start with. But typically, when you reach a level when you want to give more coverage of TLDs to your customer, you should consider adding GoDaddy registry as well into your portfolio and maintain the wallet fund so that you can get access to the TLDs and offer them through your website. So this is how the registry wallets funds system works. And let's jump on to the next slide. Calculated. I hope so. I gave enough information for you guys to digest on how to do the calculations on the ICANN accreditation fees, associated registry fees, and all the other fees associated with this business. It probably gives you a very high level view on how the calculations are done. And in the next webinar, we're going to discuss about step-by-step application process and various stages of ICANN accreditations, which was a smaller topic we discussed in the previous webinar. But in the next session, we're going to discuss more about what are the stages. I'm going to even show you the sample emails of what kind of conversation happens, what kind of questions should we expect from ICANN during the processing time, and how to answer all those questions, and how to make sure you succeed in your ICANN accreditation endeavor. So this is on Saturday next week on 13th of April, the same time, 10 o'clock Eastern time. I'm looking forward to discussing more in detail about in the next webinar. Uh, Thank you everyone for joining today, and it was a pleasure talking to you guys all. I'm going to upload this video in YouTube as I do always, and I'll leave all the important links in the description of the YouTube link for your reference. And looking for
just one question from my side.
Yeah.
If the company like ours working as a reseller, do we have to upload public some other companies do?
Oh yeah, yes, you will have to do as a reseller. You don't have much restrictions like what you can need, what you need to publish in your websites and all. But when you become a registrar, you have to publish the agreements, and also you have to publish your pricing page. So just giving a small update, like a few days ago, I came across in the ICANN's website of breach notices and terminations. I found Alibaba Cloud registrar is getting got a breach notice from ICANN, and probably they might get terminated if they don't attend it to it in next few days. But the reason why they got this breach notice is because they failed to publish the pricing of their domains in their website, and also they haven't been replying back to ICANN's breach notices in the past also. But yeah, you have to publish your terms and conditions, domain registration agreement, privacy policy, how you handle abuses and compliance, your domain's pricing. All these things need to be published in the website. That's compulsory and mandatory. All right. So, anyways, it was. You can always reach out to me in WhatsApp or an email if you have more questions. Follow up. Glad to help you out, and looking forward to talk to you all in the next session. Have a great day. Bye bye.